Let's make sure it still works.
No is the answer.
Twitch.tv/net. Nope, that's not how you spell it. Tippy tappy typing. There we go. That works. Delay is less too. Nice. I'll take it. All right, are you guys ready to get started?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpear.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
Quick plug here for patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
$5 a month. It's a recommended tier. Got a bunch of other tiers with various rewards. There's a good $2 tier. There's a great $10 tier. You know what I'm saying? You can check out all the different tiers and rewards over there on the page. $5 is recommended. That gets you everything every month, which turns out to be a whole lot of shows.
Too much.
Yeah, probably too much content, but you know, who can really say? Certainly not the people that are recording it and editing it. We do have every week the Uncensored Outcast. You want to hear us get hot about some stuff, about getting fleeced by salespeople, probably. You can get that over there. Talk about audiobooks, termites, getting rewarded with a lightsaber, some brand new drinks. It's that time of year for some voodoo, potentially. And get all of that on the Outcast there. Get early access to Rerogue Like It and Critical Misses. At the $5 tier, you get exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meeting, a show that I really like. I'm very excited for everyone to hear the upcoming ones. That's the kind of uncensored look behind the curtain on how Moon and I plan and execute and all that stuff for Critical Misses. It's really good. I highly recommend it. And then you get a
good, chaotic, tomato.
Yeah, chaotic good, yeah. And then you get exclusive access to The Wayward Sons, which is a supernatural TV show watchcast that I definitely need to post more episodes of today. So you can get all of that over there, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers. I was confused when I looked in the Dropbox and it was like everything was still in there. I was like,
yeah, it's been a busy week. Check out the Outcast. All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Well, might as well start with the golden oldies. Sega Genesis Classics.
There you go.
The trail continues. I finally beat Sonic Pinball. Yes. I got the 3 Chaos Emeralds. I got the achievement on the first level, by the way, is what that's for.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I did that. I beat the boss. It was a Spider Robotnik. Who would have thunk it?
Yep.
And I beat him by hitting him a bunch with a ball. Yay! So yeah, all of the Sonic games are done now.
Nice.
Moving on, Space Harrier 2.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking around for all of those listening because I think I'm about to get hoisted.
Are we gonna get real about Space Harrier 2?
I don't like Space Harrier.
Technical
any
Marvel,
of the Space Harrier games.
Like at the time, a real technical Marvel. I'm with you. I have never clicked with these games. Like I get it. I get why they were so popular and so famous. I've never clicked with them.
I mean, they were fun as a kid, but
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I know why it bothers me as an adult. Because you can only have 3 bullets on the screen at once.
Oh, right.
Which is not something I would have noticed if I hadn't been hitting that button as fast as it can and be like, why have I only got 3 bullets?
Right.
Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you should let me shoot as many times as I can press the button. Like, it's probably a hardware limitation would be my guess.
I would guess, yeah.
Well, like, that's not how shoot 'em ups work. Shooters don't work by you pressing the button 3 times and then wait until the thing disappears off the old end of the screen. That's how
Well,
Space Invaders worked.
That's how shooters worked back then.
But I want all
The
the
Space
buttons.
Invaders. This is not Space Invaders.
That's right.
It's Space Harrier. There's a difference, apparently.
Give me all the bullets.
I don't know. It's fine. The achievement for this one was like get a score of 5 million, which is shockingly difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have a rewind feature.
Heyo.
And you can just, dodge your way around the bullets when you see that they're going to hit you, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it real easy, let me tell you.
There you go.
Yeah, Space Harrier 2 is fine. It's a game that people like. I don't like it. That's pretty much Space Harrier 2.
Yep.
You might as well line up the next 3 one by one, Boston.
Okay.
Because it's time for the Streets of Rage, baby.
Yes.
This might be one of my favorite franchises to ever exist. And a lot of that is based on nostalgia. I am not going to lie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And until 4 came out, I think 1 was probably the pinnacle of this series.
Mm-hmm.
Because 1 has just the right amount of stupid special moves and stupid secret things, like the back punch.
Yeah.
Which I always forget about until I do it accidentally. Like, oh yeah, the back punch. And, you can do the flip, and he does a proper German suplex if you flip over them and do the throw button.
Yeah.
A real German suplex. This soundtrack is maybe one of the best soundtracks that's ever been created for video games.
That guy's soundtracks are consistently so good.
And it has that special ability in the first one, which it doesn't do in any of the other games, where you press the button and the cop car pulls up and fires a rocket launcher.
That's right.
And it goes, thoop,
Yeah.
and then the whole screen just explodes with fire. That's not in any of the other Streets of Rage games.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
It might be in 4. But
Oh,
it's not in
probably.
2.
Yeah.
Like an unlock.
It's
or
not in
something.
3.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in any of those. And that's a disappointment.
That's right.
I'm so nostalgic for this series, and I know I am because I know the sound effects.
Mhm.
Like, everyone will be like, oh yeah, I recognize the Sonic ring or the Mario jump noise. Like, for me, it's the of the throw.
That's right.
Like, when you throw them, and the little whoop that you get when you pick up food. Forever stuck in my brain.
That pickup noise is so good. You made the noise perfectly, and it's just there's something about it that's like, yep, that's what health filling up would sound like. I'm eating a floor turkey. Yep.
It's so good. Like it has that level of like memory for me, like for the nostalgia factor alone. And it helps that they're also really, really good games.
Yeah.
That you could play on the couch with somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's great. And the achievement for this one was called Sore Knuckles, and that's to beat the game with no continues, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course I did. Because it's Streets of Rage.
Yep.
And I did not make the mistake I made when I was very young of agreeing to Mr. X's deal and him dumping you back to the 3rd level because he's a meanie.
I forgot about that. I love when games used to do that. Of just like, how does my deal sound? And you're like, maybe that sounds pretty okay. And it's like,
I mean,
gotcha,
yeah.
sucker.
I'll join you so I can, jump onto the back, jump onto this and then overthrow you and become my gang thing. It's like, okay, pull the lever, you fall through the floor, and then you're 3 stages earlier by accident. It's so good. Streets of Rage 2.
This is my favorite Streets of Rage. Personally.
It seems to have suffered from the thing I've talked about with the rest of these games in the Sega Genesis collection. The sequel is so zoomed in.
Yeah.
Like, it is so close to the action. I don't know if I like it. I probably don't.
I feel like
at
the time, I feel like that was an arcade thing of like, look at how big our sprites are. Like the size of sprites at the time was definitely like a selling point of like, these sprites are huge in the arcade. Look at how big they still are at home. Wow.
Yeah. Also, I think 2 introduces Skate for the first time.
I believe so, yeah.
And it also gets rid of the special call the cops and they fire a rocket launcher into the stage, and it introduces this special of the burning, well, I know it's called the burning knuckle when the guy does it, when Axel does it. I don't know what it is when anybody else does it, but that's the one where he dashes forwards and does the little uppercut with the flamey fist.
Yep. It's cool.
He introduces a whole new thing. Also, it feels like the range is really reduced, like the range for impacts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of my favorite things about Streets of Rage 1 is, like, when you hit someone with a punch, they're far away from you. Like, you're at the very end of the punch. Whereas on Streets of Rage 2, it feels like they have to be standing so much closer to you before you can actually hit them.
True,
and
yeah.
Definitely a gameplay choice, but it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I like it, or if I don't like it because I've literally just finished Streets of Rage 1 and I'm playing this on the exact same day that I just beat Streets of Rage 1. I did get used to it by the end, and it was fine. But it was one of those things where it's like, it's good, but I don't know if it's as good for me personally.
Right, it's not your favorite.
Yeah, it's not that one that sticks in with me. I still like it. It's still fun. It's still stupid. I think this is where they get rid of the true German suplex, though, for Axel, which I'm not a big fan of. Like, Axel was a German suplexer. And it was that classic thing of not being able to do the throws to the big dudes because you just fall and then hurt yourself. And it's just such a funny thing every time it happens.
See, Streets of Rage 2... my experience was playing that into Sears back in the day when places didn't know how to set up a demo kiosk or anything. So they literally just had the console there on a table next to a TV and just the game plugged in, and you just sat there and played it. And of course, it was the early 90s where your parents don't know or care where you're at in a mall, so I just sat there for hours on end while they shot.
I get an hour to myself without my kid bothering me? Heck yeah.
Street Rage 2 is still fun. And the soundtrack is still a banger of a soundtrack, too.
So
it's worth saying. The mission on this one was to beat Stage 2 without using any items, which...
Okay, that's not super bad.
It's not super bad, but you got to remember that the punch is also the pick-up button.
Yes,
so you have to
be
very, very aware of exactly where you are standing
There's
at
a small
all
wrinkle
times.
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that. This also introduced the special when not ready depletes health thing, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think 4 does it best, where it's like, it depletes health, but it's regenerable health.
Yeah, that feels a little bit more
what
fair.
It does. Yeah, which is fun.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 2 is still great. Finally, Streets of Rage 3. Did you know that in Streets of Rage 3 you can roll vertically in the map?
Oh no, I didn't.
So instead,
I didn't play 3 nearly as much as I did the other 2.
I didn't play 3 anywhere near as much as 2 and 3 either. But it's like, it's that thing where it's like, as I'm playing it, I'm like, okay, it's got the best of 2 and 3 maybe in it, but it doesn't feel as good to me. Just like the range being depleted in 2, the speed on this one has been ramped up to the insanity level, where just like the punches are so quick. But like when you're walking up and down, if you double tap up and down, you do like a little roll and do like an evasive maneuver that you can get out of the way of things.
All right.
And you could sprint now, which is like,
that's nice.
Wait, what? You could sprint, and that sprinting by itself leads to a whole bunch more moves that you can do because you're now sprinting. So it's a whole different action set for the moves.
Oh, okay. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's fun. It genuinely is fun, and like, it's not for fun, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And I did. The achievement for this one was to beat it on normal or hard. So guess where I did? I played Streets of Rage 3 from start to finish in one sitting.
There you go.
Because I have a problem, apparently. Also, this is the first game I think that does the mirror matches, where the boss is you in one of the levels.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's just so annoying.
What a weird game.
Yeah, and it has a mission where you have to solve a puzzle by going up and down on this elevator, finding these switches to destroy the switches so you can save the chief of police.
Oh, jeez.
How times have changed.
What a weird game.
Streets of Rage 3 is fun. It adds a lot more. It feels like they added as much as they could to it. Like, it wasn't until we got to 4 where people realized you don't need to be additive every single time.
Right.
Because if you try and add on to Streets of Rage 3, you're just going to be making more and more work. Like, I'm pretty sure they got rid of the roll for Streets of Rage 4, which
yeah,
I'm fine with, because I think 4 is a fantastic example of the classics done modern day.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's fun. I liked it. I'm getting close to the T's now. I think I've got maybe 2 S's, and then I'm to my T's.
Okay.
Boston's going to be happy, though.
Uh-huh. One of my favorite
'Cause guess what's
roguelikes
in
is
the-
in there.
Guess what's in the T's, baby?
Yep. The old Toe Jam and Earl.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I don't know. It's fine. It's fun. It's whatever. Stern Pinball Hall of Fame Collection, whatever the thing is called.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I'm super duper stubborn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the... No, you're not.
We're just talking about pinball,
We're
baby.
all stubborn about different things. You're stubborn about pinball. I can be stubborn about Souls games. Boston, what do you get
Okay.
stubborn about?
Oh, pretty
What's
much
your
everything.
stubborn game? Yeah.
Oh,
Pest
about
control.
games. I mean,
Go listen to the
Making
pre-show.
lists. Yeah.
it's different. Yeah.
Exterminator's very stubborn.
I made myself the promise to not really focus on any other tables until I had beaten the Ripley's table.
Mhm.
Right.
So believe it or not, I beat the Ripley's table.
Boo! Boo!
I got one worse.
Okay.
I am the 0.01%, because that's how many people have the achievement for doing the wizard goals on
Wow.
Ripley's. Something tells me it might be lower than that, but they don't go lower than that, would be my guess.
There's no more decimal points for...
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
one I would want to look up on a website of, like, if you have scraped every profile, is it me and, like, 4 other people that have gotten this? Like, what's the actual number?
Ooh, well, there's a way I can find out some of that,
Right.
but not all of it.
Yeah, because places like True Achievements and stuff, like, I know they can scrape everything, but I know they sometimes only do it for people that have signed up. But I want to see
Yeah, they have-
everybody.
They have the
There's like
tracking
the math
for...
equation of like how many copies of the game were sold,
Right.
how many people actually
Divided
turned it
by.
on. Yeah,
Well, it doesn't help with this game, because this game went free to play as well.
yeah.
Oh, true.
With the DLC stuff included and everything like that.
Right.
Well, the Ripley's, believe it or not, Goal Wizard has 11 gamers on the True Achievements website have it, and mine isn't even in that list yet.
That's wild.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 55 gamer score achievement worth 533 True Achievement points, if that gives you an idea.
So that's... If people don't know about the kind of like True Achievement or True Trophy score, basically the larger the number is, the more rare it is. Something being in the hundreds is ridiculously rare.
Yep. And it looks like it's just a game full of... The Star Trek Premium Gold Wizard is worth 60 and it's 1,000, 1,400.
Oh, no.
Wow.
That's going to be... Have you even looked at that one?
No,
Okay.
no. I did a quick run on the Starship Troopers table because I like the sound effects.
Mhm.
But I'm saving the true annoyance with that table until last, because I want to use that as my final table, essentially.
Your reward.
The next one, yes, my reward. The cheesecake at the end of the meal, so to
Mhm.
speak. But I will be focusing next on the High Roller table,
Okay.
which is a casino theme table.
Mhm.
I literally just finished the basic goals for it today. I loaded it up, I played 2 rounds of it, and I finished the basic goals, and it's like, haha, great, I bet you these wizard goals are going to be nightmarish,
Yeah.
because they have to be. They always are insanely stupid. But, like, in part of the Ripley's table, like, the thing I was missing on the Ripley's table was essentially... The 2 wizard goals I needed was the wizard mode and to do the super jackpot complete, like so get hit it 6 times and then 1 more to do frog frenzy. I think I'd mentioned it previously when I did the wizard goal challenge. I went from like 80 or 60 or something million to like 120 million or something like that. Like I eclipsed my best score. when I did my super jackpot run, which was this morning, I went from 100 and something million to like 250 million.
Oh, wow.
And I completed the Ripley's letters and got the wizard goal in that run too.
Jeez.
So like, I just had like that one shining run where it's just that everything clicked, everything worked fantastically well. And it's like, I'm just going to do the high roller one because that's next. And it's just, it doesn't feel as good. I think it's an older table, but it's got two flippers, a couple of ramps, it's got a roulette table in it and all this other kind of stuff. Like, it seems fine, but it's got a bunch of like drop targets which just jump the ball straight back at the hole in the middle, and I don't like that.
That's no good.
Despite the fact that one of my favorite real life tables is Stranger Things, which has drop targets which shoot the ball straight back at the hole in the middle. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, I started high roller. I did not get any of the high scores, but I completed all of the basic missions.
Nice.
So I have one of the 4 achievements in the high roller table already. Come see me in 6 weeks for the... I'm stuck on 2 of the final goals, boys.
Right. Wouldn't you know it?
Who would have thought that the high roller table... I mean, I'm going to do Mustang, probably do AC/DC, and then Last Action Hero, and then Starship Troopers would be my guess, is probably the order I'm going to look at.
A handful of tables left.
Troopers. It's like 6 in total that there is achievements for. I made the mistake of playing one table for like 5 hours with 0 achievements. Like, I hate you. Why would you make me do this?
You fool!
You having fun.
That's right. Get back to work.
I got the top score, and it was like Grand Champion. I was like, where's my achievement, punk? And then it didn't give me one, and I was annoyed with myself and the game. Because that's the free table that you get,
right?
For the record. I know, it's fine, it's fun, it's great, I like it, whatever. Hidden Cats in London. Have you guys? I doubt anybody's probably heard of this. This is a find the hidden object game. Spoiler alert: it's cats.
Where are they hidden?
Double spoiler alert: they're in London.
Yep.
So really cool because when you find all of the cats in an associated area, it colors in the area. So it's like a black and white sketch, and then when you find the cats, all of the cats in a specific area, it just colors that section in. So it's like, cool, you don't need to look at no more. You've got all the cats from this section. You're fine. Cool. Move along. It's not great to control with a controller, to be honest. It's like a mouse cursor type game, so you're probably best doing it with a mouse.
Right.
But you know what? Like so I've had this on my wish list for a while. It was on sale for like $2, so I picked up this and Hidden Cats in Paris, which I'm sure no, not Paris, because Paris wasn't on sale. New York. I picked up Hidden Cats in New York because they were both on sale for like $2 or something. It was a fun, stupid, so it has 2 different things. It has one, which is the same, it's the image, and then you search the image, the cats are in specific places, you find them all, and then you complete the level. And it has the same thing, but the cats are randomly placed.
Oh, that's fun.
And there's 250 of them instead of 100.
Oh, wow.
And then when you make progress through the randomly placed ones, it starts unlocking bonus areas. So it's like, inside the coffee shop, find all of the cats. Inside this, find all of the cats. So it gives you additional modes based on finding like cats in the randomly placed one. The art style and the way this thing looks, it's basically like a slightly in motion Where's Waldo. Where's Wally for my Europeans?
Yeah, I like the style here. Very, very cool. Very well done.
And it's got like a whole bunch of little details in it too. Like the shops are renamed cat ponds, for example. And
that's fun.
You'll see people driving down the road or walking down the road, and it's very much like Where's Wally, where it's like, this is the person who's like chasing somebody else who's like, stolen an apple or something, and here is the Queen's Guard with a horse and someone staring at him. Like, it's got that background art kind of thing going on too, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. I like the fact that there's more to these drawings than just finding cats. There is like funny little goofs going on all around. There is way too many cats and trees, for the record.
Right. Oh, they do
in
like
this.
being up there.
I mean, that is true.
Yeah. This looks
But, like,
fun. This looks fun. This looks cool.
It was just a fun, relaxing, quick game. Like I said, I think the one where it was find 100 probably took me maybe 25 minutes to do.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't started the one where it's find the 250 or whatever it is in there randomly placed yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, okay, I've got like 30 minutes. I might sit down and just give that a shot and see how it goes.
Yeah, chill for a little bit.
Yeah, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Like just looking around trying to find, because they're all in different poses, different colors, different shapes, different sizes. You got sleepy cats, awake cats. You got cats doing the upside down belly stretch on the middle of the street. And it's like, okay, oh yeah, it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, that
and
was
like
cool.
I said, I think it's like $3 normally. So
Okay.
if you're gonna spend a couple of bucks to do a weird hidden cat game, give it a shot. There's like 5 of them. There's Paris, London, New York, and I think there's like 2 more.
That's cool.
Use your city of choice. I wonder why I went with London.
Right.
My final game this week, and thus becomes the transition to Mr. Nimp, is Space Marine 2.
Yep.
The Chunky Boy Squad formed for action.
It made Moon super nervous.
In all honesty, like I have been feeling raw at the best of times at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
With everything that's going on, which you guys are aware of. Like, I've been feeling a little raw and unsure of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I figured it was fine, but it was one of those things. Was like, I'm just going to double check just to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're fine. I even felt slightly bad after that non-game related thing.
No, because so this is about a text conversation that I have with him. But I should. Like, the reason why I figured it was fine is because whenever I text you about anything to do with Wayward Sons, if I'm lucky, I get a thumbs up emoji, and that's it. Like, you're not an essayist like me. When I respond to a text, it's like 4 sentences long with a whole bunch of extra detail in. You're just like,
it's a pleasure to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I make sure, I read your message, I acknowledge we're going with whatever was said.
Yeah.
Yep, which is a thumbs up emoji. So, I mean, like I said, I figured it was fine, but whatever. Double check just to be safe. But yeah, Space Marine 2.
Back. Keep going.
All right.
Okay. Space Marine 2 is interesting.
Fun. How much of the Warhammer universe outside of video games are you aware of?
None.
None? Okay.
I have probably not surface layer knowledge. Like, I know a bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
But not a whole lot of it. Like, I know certain things, but not enough of the certain things. Like, I theorized a bunch of stuff to Rob when we played the first couple of levels, especially the tutorial mission. Mm-hmm. And it turns out I was right about the thing I was theorizing about, because I was like, I'm pretty sure that this is used for that and this for this.
Yeah.
I was correct.
I've read like 2 books and I'm working on a 3rd one right now, and outside of those books, I have no knowledge of Warhammer outside of just what you see in society and on TikToks randomly. So
the thing I theorized to him was that the Death Watch was a penance, essentially, or can be used as a penance.
Oh, yep.
Which turns out was actually correct.
Since was like a specific, like it was more.
Yes. So so for everybody listening, if you haven't, maybe go watch a recap video of Space Marine 1's story.
Yeah, I should probably do that.
GameSpot did a 13-minute recap video of the story of Space Marine 1. It is well worth your time because it tells you kind of pretty much exactly how things went and why. So, from what I understand, it's kind of vital to the story of this, but I don't want to say why, because obvious reasons there is spoilers abound. And Space Marine is still really new. Like, let's face it.
Yeah.
But there
it's
is
only, its 2nd week out now?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe 3rd week. But yeah, there is a reason why the person was in the death squad. There's a reason why they were there for punishment without any spoilers at all. There's a reason why, and you should go check out the 13-minute video that GameSpot did. Is the one I would recommend, not the 4-hour version, not the 1 hour and 95.
But what
Space
if I
Marine
want
won
all
the
the
movie.
lore? Yeah.
So that's the thing, is I think the GameSpot video does a good job of summing up the situations and the lore for this game, or the first game, I should say, without overwhelming you with the rest of the Warhammer lore. Because let me tell you, I watched 2 videos and all of a sudden my For You page is nothing but Warhammer.
Oh yeah. Start talking about Mechanis and all of this fun stuff, and
I now know there are 13 different types of Space Marine. I also know that 6 of them have turned into essentially Chaos Marines.
Yep. And who was the original traitor, Moon?
It's Horus from the Horus Heresy.
Yeah,
you're too deep, Moon. I gotta pull you back out.
That's about as deep as I've gotten to.
Horus was the one who originally went into the void and embraced the Chaos Gods, and then when he came out, it caused the Civil War. And the Horus Heresy was the fight between Horus, who was the leader of the Space Marines. Sorry, the Primarch of the Space Marines, of his particular Space Marines, versus the Emperor of Humankind. But the problem is that fight.
May his name ever live eternally.
Yes. Well, that fight caused so much damage to the Emperor that he now had to be placed on his golden throne and essentially lives in suspended animation as like a corpse on his chair now, is what I believe. So, as you could tell, I watched too many videos about Warhammer.
You dug too deep and too greedily.
Yes. There are scary things in the dark.
That's right.
Like, to say the least. But watch the GameSpot video, the 13-minute one. It sums up the storyline for the first game. It'll tell you everything you need to know about how things got to the way they are. I did not know that the first Space Marine game was all about fighting the orcs. So we're probably not
now that makes me want to play it even more, because that's why I started reading about Warhammer.
So we're probably not going to get orcs in this game, is my guess.
Which is fine with what we have been getting.
Yeah, a whole bunch of Tyranids. So, it still plays really well. It is glitchy as hell in some places. I'm telling you, they took that ammo cache away from us because we died. It was punishment for dying.
We had to restart the ammo cache. One thing because we completed an area and then we couldn't hit the red button to continue on, so we had to restart and redo that fight, which that wasn't an issue. And then we died on a slow-moving elevator that had an ammo cache, and the second time when we got back into it, did not have an ammo cache. And this was hey, they're coming in waves, and you need to defend these 4 points that have health points, and if you don't, it's game over. And that's when I found out that a sniper rifle was not something I should have grabbed and brought onto this elevator.
I mean, we all make mistakes. It's fine.
That's right.
Sometimes. I didn't know we were going into a wave.
Neither did I. I had like the scoped DMR. That's why as soon as we got on the elevator, I was like, no, I'm just going to pick up this LMG. Thank you very much.
I was because I think I found like a heavy automatic bolter, and I'm like, oh yeah, that alone, I just hold down the trigger and just clear an entire chain. I'm like, cool, we got it.
And so you know the surgery that the guy's gone through at the end of the prologue?
Yeah.
That's the start of the second generation of Space Marines, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Who are bigger, faster, and stronger than the original Space Marines. Because, you know, Warhammer doesn't have problems with lore enough. Like, it's going to start throwing second... It's like the Spartans, except in...
I was about to say, it's like, are these Gen 2...
in reverse order, where like with the Spartan project, the latter versions were actually considerably worse than the Spartan 2s. Whereas in this, it's like, oh no, we're just going to make you bigger, stronger, and better. Like, that's it. You are now exactly what you were, except so much stronger.
And with a better part in your hair.
Uh-huh.
Because this guy just has the perfect swoop going.
He's got the
Oh,
fashion.
100%. He does.
We were making fun of that. It's like, look at this. Millions of years of genetic gene splicing just for that swoop.
Right.
Uh-huh. It's fun. Like, I'm actually genuinely having fun playing the game. I'm having fun relearning the combat every time I load it up because it's been a week and I've already forgotten how to play it.
Rob couldn't throw his special to save his life
No.
if we were in combat. But every
Yes.
time we were out of combat, he would hit that
Walk up to a
stupid button.
switch.
Yeah.
Walk up to a switch, and instead of hitting the switch, he'd do his battle cry, and it's just like, dude, there's no one around us. Like,
Now, that's better than me, who kept forgetting that they had a special and would just never use it. So, yeah, we're a trio of idiots running through this.
uh-huh.
We were making fun of like all kinds of dumb stuff. We were yelling about because whenever there's a panel, you hit the same 3 buttons on the panel, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we were sitting there making fun of each other about, don't look over my shoulder. This is my super secret password.
That's right.
Like, this is my beep boop bop, not your beep boop D. You know, it's just us being dumb.
I mean, well, you tell me, Nim, this is your first week playing the game. Like, how do you feel about like the combat? Do you think my Dark Souls was?
Yeah, it's
a weird hybrid of everything.
The timing feels kind of off a little bit too. I think it's more that you can't cancel an action. So like if you're in the middle of a swing or something and you see like the little blue icon pop up for you to block to parry something, I don't think you can get out of an action to start parrying that. Like you have to be kind of on top of it. My biggest issue was also that there's so many things coming at you. They generally do a good job of, it's not just like a sea of blue icons that pop up and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? There's usually 1 or 2, but every once in a while, like when we were fighting the bigger things with the swords that are psychically linked to the smaller things, I got surrounded by 3 of those things, and all 3 of those did a red icon, which you can't parry, you have to dodge. I'm like, I'm surrounded. There's nowhere for me to dodge.
Yeah.
So that was an issue a time or two. But no, it's been great. I did compare it to Gears of War. Like it straight up outside of the parrying stuff, and outside of there not being, outside of not having the cover mechanic either. Yeah, walking around, running. They almost do like the rodeo run almost too. Which I think it was Mackie was in our party who did play the first one, because Mackie was in our chat for a little bit. I think he said that the first one was pretty much just Gears of War, just Space Marines, and I was like, oh, okay, well, if that's what everyone, if that's what everyone was expecting, okay, it's doing that. So
in the video I watched, it basically shows a bunch of gameplay at the same while they're talking about the plot for the first one. Minus the fact that you can very clearly tell that it looks like a 360 game. And the UI is very 360 as well. It looks like it plays exactly the same. It's got the parry mechanic. It's got the execution mechanic. It's got like the bars of armor. It feels like a pretty direct sequel.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun just screwing off, telling jokes. I made a Predator joke, which turned out to be true, like within seconds of me saying it out loud.
Seconds of you saying it, yeah.
But yeah, it's just been fun blowing stuff up so far.
Nice.
And the random glitches haven't been anything major, so.
No, I'll be honest, like the plot so far, it just got to the point where I started talking about something, and like the main character reacted in such a way, and I was like, now I have to go watch this video because he clearly knows what this is, and I don't know what this is, so I should probably know what this is. So that's what actually told me to go and watch the video of the first one. It explains exactly what that thing is in the story for the first one.
I think I have an idea on what it is already, but yeah, I'm super excited once we beat the campaign to do
the PvE mode.
Yeah, because there's a whole outside of the camp, there's a whole other. I just started calling them B Squad, but there's another group of Space Marines that your team goes and does something in the campaign mode. This team goes and does something else that usually supports, Alpha Team, A Team.
And
For
it pops
this
up
other,
after the mission, and it's like, yo, go try out this other mode where you can play that mission that they just did to help you.
Oh, cool. I like that.
So it's like, it's a really
that one's got an
smart
RPG
storytelling
aspect
thing
to it though too, where you're like building up those characters and stuff like that too, which isn't in the main campaign. It's just specific to that mode.
Oh, wow.
And I think there's more of a customization for that mode too.
Yeah,
maybe that's the online stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I've seen the Skittle Space Marines all over the place.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with them, but okay, I guess the Skittle Space Marines are out and about in force. Taste the Rainbow Emperor, so on and so forth.
That's right. Famous saying.
Yes. It should have probably been Taste the Rainbow Heretic, but whatever.
But then, like, the details and stuff we were talking about, too. Like, even just looking at the load screen, your characters are sitting there as the map is loading up for you. And I was sitting there looking at, like, the wax seals with the scripts and stuff that are all over your armor and, like, the chains and all that crap. It's like, man, they threw in, like, a lot of detail with these things, too. Like, they look really nice.
Yeah.
This guy with the bone armor, like, I want his armor so bad.
Yeah.
Like, there's always been that whole thing as well in Warhammer of, like, the specific type and thing on their armor is their service record. Yeah. So, like, we talked about, like, the main character now has the chain around his left arm, which indicates that he's served in the Death Watch, which calls it out to everybody else. They know he's done it, but they don't know why. They don't know what the purpose of it was. It's a really interesting way of storytelling in both headcanon if you're playing the tabletop game, but also in this, it's like, why has this dude got a robot arm? Why has this guy got like a Scottish kilt on? Why has this person got this other type of design on their shoulder instead?
Yeah,
it's really cool. And fascist regimes aside, people really need to accept that fact. By the way, this is a story about fascism. Just so you know.
Yep.
The ultimate end of fascism.
It's the Starship Troopers Helldivers problem all over again.
100%.
Twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
But yeah, despite all of that, like, I think it's really well done. Like, they put a lot of effort into the game. A lot of effort into, like, the little details.
I will say, too, though, when I was trying to figure out how to buy the game, this game hasn't come out physically still.
No, not yet.
Well, it was supposed to, and this is where the problem is, because it had a $100 pre-order release that got you into the game like 4 days early. That, as of this week so far, people who pre-ordered those physical copies still have not received those physical copies.
Oh, yikes.
And a couple of people, because I was telling you guys after we recorded last week, like, I can't find anything on, like, no one has this game physically. And I noticed a couple places had some interesting pricing for the game.
Ah, sure.
So I was like, what is going on? And yeah, that's apparently what's happening is they haven't shipped it yet. I don't know what's going on with that. So I ended up having to go digital, which I prefer physical, but yeah. So if you're looking for physical, apparently at some point it's supposed to come out, but if you're looking at it and can't find it, that's why there's something weird going on.
But yeah, I have liked my time with Space Marine so far. I'm looking forward to playing it more. Yes, we will try and find time. I'm going to try and find time on my side at least once a week to get some time in. So Lethal Company is probably going to happen this Friday, which we didn't talk about last week, but whatever. So maybe Saturday I can find some time and we can jump in, and because even if we're only doing a couple of missions at a time, the game's like 7 to 8 hours long right here. So
sure,
yeah, it's not terribly.
It's not that long.
The campaign anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's a free for all for the PvE mode at that point.
Yep.
It's fun. I really like it. I don't want to say much more because I know I will spoil some story factors on it.
Which we won't even know are spoilers anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'll have a better idea now, but yes.
Right.
So yes, Nimp. Anything else to say on Space Marine 2?
Nope. I'm enjoying it, and I'm ready to play more. So
Okay, then it's
that's
over to
about
you,
the
big
best
boy.
you can get.
Yeah.
All right. Next game that I've played, this is going to be brief, is Vampire Survivors. I was just working on unlocking arcane cards, so still don't have the platinum yet. This is just when I've got a couple minutes here and there to just kind of do something with.
I didn't play much this week. My focus this week was in the Foscari DLC. There's that other stage where you like unlock the map over a couple of different runs. You like break the crystal and it opens another section. You break a crystal and it opens.
Yep.
So I was like doing that. Excuse me. I only had a couple of runs in this week, and it was mostly like, oh yeah, I remember I need to like run this a bunch of times and evolve the weapon and break this thing. So that was mostly my focus this week.
Yeah, I was like, because I just unlocked Endless Mode and Inverse as well this week while I was messing with a couple different things. Because I've got a couple characters that I have to get up to level 50 so I can unlock the arcanes. I think I have 13 cards left to unlock.
That's not bad.
But then once I got the Inverse and Endless, I started getting the unlocks for, now complete, 31 minutes of this map, or now complete 30 minutes in Inverse, mode kind of thing.
Now
So
you
it's
have
like,
to kind of all the base modifications and all that.
Yeah, so it's like now I can go back to kind of tagging a bunch of trophies together and completing them in a run. I think I just got the one for killing, I think it was like 16,666 bats or whatever it was.
Yep.
I still have to do, I think it's 6,000 stage enders.
There's milk elementals and stage killers.
Yeah,
or
a lot of those.
Called.
Yeah, the stage killers is the one that I'm doing. The milk ones I ended up getting, and I know there's a map. I read somewhere there was a map I could go to that I could just grind out the stage killers or stage enders, whatever they're called.
Okay.
So I'll probably do that at some point. But I'm just trying to not over exert myself on this game because there's just so much of it still. And I think there's only like three folders worth of the base trophies that I don't have 100% still, and that's not including the other whole set of folders for the rest of the trophies. So it's Vampire Survivors. It's fun. It's just great.
Still good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did jump into Helldivers 2 briefly. Everyone was like, hey, there's a really good update coming out. I'm like, cool. I'm going to jump back into it then. I have not been paying attention to Helldiver updates in a while.
There's been a lot.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of stuff here and there. And I had to stop playing it because I had other games that I had to start playing, unless you guys wanted to hear me talk about Helldivers.
You didn't say a problem correctly. You had a problem. The problem was Helldivers.
just a tiny little,
So I got back into it, and first thing I noticed was when you blow something up, there's dust that pops up now, and it sticks around for a while. And it kind of obscures your vision. I'm like, oh, that's real cool. I started in, difficulty 4, because I was like, it's been a while. I don't know what weapons are good or bad, or, what any of the updates have done. So let me just start off easy and then work my way back up. And that's when I found out, after listening and reading a couple things, that apparently all weapons are good now.
That's nice.
Any debuffing that they've done in the past, they've removed. And they've kind of just buffed everything.
Interesting.
Some by 100%, some by thousands %.
Jeez. All right, going all the way.
There's one, I think it was the thermite grenade, which now does like 2,000 damage, and your normal grenades do like 200, 400.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, they've changed a lot of things. I haven't read anything, so I don't know what all they've done. I'll look something up at some point. But yeah, I played a couple matches, and it was fun. Me and another guy, we did a level 6 challenge, just the two of us. Knocked it out, no problem. It's like, all right, cool. I'm starting to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, now I need to put this back down because I wanted to play more. And they've added more stuff for you to unlock now. I know in this last War Banner, they have skins that you can unlock for the transport craft that comes and picks you up at the end of the match and for your back. So now you can change what colors they are. So I have both of my and your pod, your diving pod. So now all of my stuff that I could customize is yellow because that's just what I've unlocked at this point. I've got a bunch of new suits and armor. I've got like 2 new things for my ship that I can now upgrade, which I had that thing maxed out as of June, July. So now I've got 2. I'm sorry, for each, because there was like 4 or 5 categories for the ship that you could upgrade. So for each of those categories now, I have 2 more things that I can upgrade to now.
Oh wow!
So and it's going to cost a lot, so I would have to put in some more.
Right.
So, like, all right, cool. I'm going to put this back down because it's been fun, but I need to work on other games. And the other game that I was working on this week was Resident Evil Village.
Oh.
And I was telling Moon, I already have a problem. Because I was like, oh, okay, cool. We're getting into October. I can start, let's just get into the season and play a spooky game.
Sure, yeah.
So I started this up Thursday. I had played it last year. I think the last time I touched it was around March. Okay. And I know I talked about it on here. But I just wasn't really feeling it back then. And then I got back into it recently. And today I beat the game.
Okay.
So now I have a problem was planning on this game being like a week or 2 for me to beat, and I'm already out of my spooky game for the next couple of weeks, but whatever. Boston, are you planning on playing this or care about the story, or have you played it?
No, I will not be. So spoiler alert here for everybody.
So yeah, this is my last game, so I'm not going to get who knows? I'm going to spoil stuff. I just don't know what right now. Sure. So you can just skip ahead to Boston's games.
Let the spoils take you where they may.
Yeah. So I left off where I had beat Lady D, got out of the castle, and I was working back to the village after all that fun stuff. So that's where I picked up, got back into the village, did a bunch of random stuff. And then my next, at this point, after talking with the Duke, who, as I played more of this game, I really love the Duke in this game. And I love how the merchants, the 2 merchants that we've had, seem to, one, be completely unfazed on what is happening around them at this point in time. And not only are they not fazed, they don't seem to have to worry about anything that's happening around them at this time. Which has got me super interested on what's going on with the merchants from this game and from 4.
Right.
Some special merchant guild protection thing or what. But anyway, once you've done enough stuff in the village, the Duke will tell you, hey, there's these treasures that you can get now, and these are the other people that you'll need to take on to get your daughter back, basically. It's the whole premise of this game. So I go to the next area, and it's a house that has a bunch of freaky antique dolls in it.
Oh, perfect.
And nothing weird happens until you go to the basement of this house. And you find the jar that has part of your daughter in it, and you go to pick it up, and the lights go black, and all of a sudden, all your weapons are gone.
Great.
You don't have anything. All right, cool. You have to start manipulating this mannequin. You have to do weird things. Like you have to turn its eye to get it a symbol, and you have to start basically taking it apart to get a key and get some clues to unlocking doors and stuff. And you get to a point where you just completely lose power in the basement. And you still don't have your weapons. It's like, okay. You go walking down a hallway, and like this baby thing, like reminiscent of Parasite Eve, was like the first thing that came to mind.
No, not a little baby thing. A thing
No.
that looks like a baby and makes noises like a baby, but is large.
Takes up a hallway. Starts coming around crawling around a corner, and it is just yelling like it is screeching like a baby. It's just going like mama, dada,
Oh,
but
no.
it's all like high pitched,
Right.
Oh, it's weird. Anyway, I ran from that. There is no way to fight it.
Okay,
And
even better.
that thing is fast. So you're in the dark, you're running away from this thing. I finally figured out what I had to do, which was you basically just have to get a fuse for an elevator to get out of there. Like, you're not even meant to fight it. It's just the thing that I always hate. It's that invincible enemy that you can't kill.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I'll keep running these laps around so I can get through. And they do this biggest screw job ever of when you get the fuse finally that you need, and you make your way back to the elevator, no matter how much you left this baby in the dust, as soon as you put those fuses there, it's right there behind you, and you're waiting for the elevator to come back down, and you're waiting for the door to open, and you have to run in there, and you have to hit the button, and if you don't time it just right, that baby is gonna get you. And that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It was great, but that sucks. Okay. So you go back up. All of a sudden, the dolls are alive. Could have seen that coming, but you still don't have your weapons. And this is what led to a very interesting boss fight where you are supposed to be hunting down this one specific doll in this house full of dolls, and you're supposed to stab it with a pair of scissors. And that's what you have to do. And then you finally beat this house, and then you get your stuff, and then you can finally leave.
Okay.
That whole house sucked. It was great, but it sucked.
And yeah, that is one of my favorite sequences in 8.
Yeah.
We were talking about this, like, 8 is basically 4 mini zones that try and pull different vibes from the Resident Evil oeuvre.
Oh, interesting.
And the one he's talking about is like the mansion, and it's very PT vibey, where it's just like, yeah, spooky things are happening. There's marionettes around that you have to do stuff with, but you don't know what you need to do, and if you turn around and look the wrong way, you're gonna die.
Yep. So then you go back to the village. You do more random stuff in the village. A lot of times it's just, okay, I have either a key or an item that allows me to access a house or a well or, something that I couldn't before. So you basically just go back to the village, you do clean up, grab the extra items or stuff, treasures that you couldn't get to before, and then you move on to the next area. The next area wasn't horrific, but you're basically fighting this fish thing.
Okay.
Just to cut out all the fun puzzle stuff between now and then. You drain this area of water. The fish thing can now walk around, and it's massive. And this whole boss fight is you just shoot its tongue because it's a person, and you occasionally have to hide under cover because it will jump on top of a building and spew acid from the sky, and it'll just rain acid everywhere. And while that's happening, these little barricades of acid bubbles will form and block your path. So you can either try to blow those up, or you find a new path to run around so that the boss doesn't get you. It wasn't difficult. I managed to get it stuck on a building and killed it.
There you go.
Yay me. Moving on to the next boss fight. The next one was a little bit cooler because you end up in like this underground factory, which is not a pleasant place to be. And you have like all these mechanized things that you're kind of fighting.
I hate that level.
The boss for this one is you get this thing that has like a propeller engine. Like, it's basically that with legs. And the way it attacks you is that it charges you with its blade spinning super fast. So if you're in front of it, obviously you're going to get hit and you're going to get chopped up. But the way this fight starts is you're in a hallway walking to a door, and that thing busts through the door. And every time it charges, it's busting through a wall. So then you start to find out, like the first time, there may be a way, but I couldn't figure it out because you're stuck in a pretty small hallway. When it charges you the first time, I just had to guard and shove it off me, and then it busts through another wall. So you start in this really, really confined space, and as this thing keeps charging, it keeps busting through and breaking walls, and it's slowly opening up the arena to fight it in.
Oh, interesting.
Which is interesting. I thought it was really cool. There's a couple walls that can't bust through, and there's like some ISO containers there too that you can kind of hide behind, because as it progresses, you're supposed to shoot it in the back. It's big glowing red spot. But as it takes on more damage, it gets superheated, and then it just starts spewing fire everywhere, which stays there for a while. So that kind of traps where you can run around and stuff like that as well. Eventually took that thing out. It was a fun fight. I'm glad I'm done with that area, because, yeah, that sucked. Because that's when enemies started getting harder, and that's when I really started having to... I didn't have to fully ration ammo, but I was getting to the point of, this entire time I've never had to craft ammo, and now I might have to start crafting it. So, it's very interesting. A lot of dark sections in this, which I hate too, but whatever. So, once you complete that one, the main boss fight for the area is basically you just on like this small little homemade tank that has a 50 cal machine gun on it and a rocket launcher.
Oh, jeez.
And they both have infinite health. And you just hold down the machine gun and hit the bright shiny bits. And when your rocket launcher gets done loading, you shoot the bright shiny bits with the rocket, and you just rinse and repeat until you either die or it kills you. And luckily, I killed it first. Got a nice cutscene. Moved on to the next boss. This is when you start getting more with Miranda, and this is when you start finding different tidbits about Miranda and what happened leading up between 7 and 8.
Oh,
and
okay.
Basically, in 7, when you escaped with Maya. You guys eventually had a daughter, Rose. Chris, for some reason, Redfield, shows up, tells them they have to move to, like, Europe for some reason. I still don't even know what his reasoning was for that. They all do it. Then Chris comes in at the start of 8 and kills Maya, and that's what spurs off 8. What you find out is that wasn't really Maya.
Oh.
That was Miranda, because she has taken the mold within her from 7, so now she has the mimic ability, and she can mimic whoever she wants to, and she had been mimicking Maya for like a year or something, and Ethan didn't even notice, which we'll harken back to that in a little bit. So the whole point was Miranda is trying to take their baby Rose, so that way she can use Rose as a vessel to reincarnate her daughter who died 100 years ago from the Spanish flu. And that is the motive for this game.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It's all over the place. It's crazy Resident Evil storytelling of
Right.
So all of these events happened because you wanted to revive your daughter who died 100 years ago.
Right.
And we also find out, if you read the notes, that apparently Spencer, which the name rings a bell, but I can't quite place it yet, but I know he's the head of Umbrella, but the creation of Umbrella happens because of Miranda doing the things that she is doing.
Oh, jeez.
And one of her students was like, I like what you're doing here, but I'm going to take this in a different direction, and instead of mold, we're going to go viruses.
8 is a prequel.
Yeah.
Wild. Okay.
So it's this whole thing. And then we find out, going back to Ethan, Ethan's been dead this entire time.
Perfect. Why not?
Which I kind of figured something weird happened to him in 7, and it even gets brought up where someone's like, because dude is getting hung up on like stakes and is like ripping himself free.
Mm-hmm.
Dude is getting like chomped on, parts of him are missing, and he sprays, the magic elixir liquid on himself, and he heals fresh as a daisy.
He got his hand chopped off, and he just stapled it back together again and poured a little thing over
it. Put a
it.
little green leaf on it, you're fine.
I think it's the same hand gets chopped off in this game as it did in 7, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But the point is, though, and you as the player don't question it either, because we've been playing Resident Evil forever. So yeah, okay, let me let me smoke this herb in the back and I'm back to
Yeah.
full health, or let me
My
spray
character's
this
dead.
can of-
Sure, why not?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, yeah, let me take your mystical first aid liquid and
Yeah.
just a little pat here on the
That's
cheek and I'm
right.
back to full health and
Regrew a hand.
but
I'm good.
but a character at the end specifically calls it out where they're like, you didn't think that was weird? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, in real life that would be weird, but not for Resident Evil, no.
Yeah,
And they're
it's
like,
a video game.
yeah, and they're like, no, man, you're dead. Like, dead. Like, you
Mhm.
shouldn't be walking around dead. Period.
Fair
Stop.
enough.
And we find out that Ethan in 7, at like the very beginning of 7, was straight up killed.
Oh, jeez.
And the Ethan that you're playing in 7, which I'm pretty sure was alluded to, and I kind of figured, you're a mold creation of Ethan.
Oh, here we
And
go
this
again. All right.
whole thing with the mold is that anytime it touches or absorbs a body, something, the mold absorbs, the memories and everything of those people.
Okay.
And that is how Miranda was trying to resurrect her daughter from 100 years ago. That is how Ethan has been resurrected, because he is a mold person.
Yep.
And he didn't know he was a mold person.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm here for this dumb stuff.
Yeah, like and we can't be fans of Kojima and then be like, oh, mold people, sure. No, man, just take the ride.
The only thing that bothers me about him, because Ethan gets his heart ripped out at one point, recovers just fine from that. Dude, why are your 2 fingers on your left hand never recovered? Like, I am sick of seeing those stumps in the bandage playing this entire game. It's like, just heal that, please. But
right.
Yeah, so I took out Miranda, saved Rose, and Ethan is now dead.
Oh, okay.
But Maya is still alive, because you play as Chris towards the end of the game, and it's like a full powerhouse arcade of, hey, I have a powerful assault rifle. We're just going to walk through here and mow past all these things that you've been having problems with for the last 8 hours. Yeah, exactly. So while you're playing as Chris, you find Maya, the real Maya, allegedly. We don't know. They get out of there. Ethan blows everything up. Maya and Rose is fine. Credits roll. We get a scene at the end where it's like Rose in her teens. She's living fine. But then the men in black show up to come take her for something. They need her for a job. And it's all kinds of weird stuff. Chris gets mentioned again, and then they get in an SUV and they drive off into the sunset with a random person on the side of the road, which I don't know what that was about.
Okay.
That is the end of Resident Evil 8.
Wild.
The DLC, I'm pretty sure you play as her, by the way.
Yeah, I looked up reviews for that DLC. So the Winter's expansion pack unlocks or adds a bunch of extra stuff. There is that where you play as Rose. A lot of people said it was kind of meh. It's pretty short. I think it was like 3 hours long. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. A lot of it was more focused towards when you buy that, you unlock like the third person perspective.
Oh, right.
And you unlock 3 new characters for the mercenary mission, which you unlock Chris, Heisenberg, and Lady D.
Oh, interesting.
So you get to play as them in mercenary mode. I was telling Moon, now that I've beaten the game, I have the end-game shop, the cheat shop basically opened.
Ooh.
Yep.
Where you complete challenges in the game, you get challenge points, you can turn those points in, so now I can start unlocking like unlimited ammo for weapons and stuff like that.
Cool.
So I have the assault rifle that Chris had at the end of the game was called the Dragoon. I unlocked that, and I unlocked the infinite ammo for that because that was the only weapon besides the grenade launcher that I could do it for. I figured I'd at least have one thing to go into New Game Plus with, to screw around with. And you can go back, once you've unlocked more CP, you can go back to that shop in the main menu, unlock more stuff. So you're not, so you're not stuck
I've
where you
always loved that about the Resident Evil games. It's like, yeah, you got these 5 achievements. Here you go, have a bunch of money and the ability to buy the infinite ammo rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Now
that's
go to
cool.
an S rank.
Yeah, God. So I have Mercenaries unlocked now. I was telling Moon before we recorded. I was never really big on Mercenaries to begin with. I don't have an issue with it. It was never really my thing. I never really enjoyed it in the original Resident Evil games when they came. I think it was what 3, 4, and 5 had Mercenaries,
I don't
something
even
like that.
remember.
I have no idea.
It's just an arcade thing where you're running around blowing things up and you get points. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. And I know that they've added more stuff to it now. Like I can unlock more challenge points playing Mercenaries now, so maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. But I did start a new game plus. I played the original game. My original run was on casual mode. I beat that in like 9 hours 50 minutes. So like, okay, let me do new game plus. Put it on standard mode. Now I have the Dragoon with infinite ammo. So now I'm kind of messing around with that. And I am back in the castle for the first time in this run. And I'm running around. One of the challenge points is blow out all the windows in the castle that you can.
Okay.
Now I got to look up a guide to see what ones can I blow up, to get
Right.
this. So I'm working on dumb things here and there. And I don't know if I'll keep playing it or not, since I did beat it, because like I said, I wasn't expecting to have beaten it already. I was kind of expecting to be like, hey guys, I made it to like the halfway point, and maybe next week, maybe the week after. Not, hey guys, this is a really good game, and I kind of sucked it all in within a weekend.
Right.
So, I might do Mercenaries, because my goal was to carry on a theme, which I did with the last two, because the last two was like, okay, let's do movie tie-in video games. Cool, I got 2 of those, let's knock it out. This is supposed to be spooky season. I'm already out of spooky games.
That's right.
So I'll look and see what else I got. Like we were talking about how I've got Resident Evil 2 remake. I might check that out, or I might just bum around in Mercenaries and replay 8 again, because I do. 8 has the Resident Evil 4 weapon level up system.
Oh.
And I really enjoy that. So I may continue to play 4, and since I've got the Dragoon and I'm working on unlocking different weapons to get those with infinite ammo, and eventually it's like you can just start blowing through this game and doing like 2-hour runs through this game once you get to a certain point. So I might do that. I doubt I would go for the platinum I never do for any of the Resident Evil games, but I do enjoy rerunning and just doing dumb stuff in games, like running around with an RPG with infinite ammo and just smoking a hillside because I know what's there and I don't want to deal with it. So yeah, Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village. It is a great game. There's already rumors that Resident Evil 9 might be announced within the next week or so.
No, they already announced it.
Oh, did they?
A couple months ago. Yeah, they're like, yep, we're working on a new Resident Evil. That's it.
Okay, cool.
Shocks.
Maybe they'll showcase something.
Yeah, hopefully they'll show. They only announced it. They didn't talk like title or gameplay or anything like that. So hopefully in the upcoming weeks they'll at least give some hints about what it's gonna be like, where it's gonna be, stuff like that.
Yeah, because really at this point, like so 7 and 8 take place well past. I'm trying to think. God, the timeline for Resident Evil is so convoluted.
I don't even want to think about.
I know 5 takes place like way off in the future, but I don't know how far. 6 I know takes place before 5, and 7 and 8 take place sometime after 2 and 3. So I know that they did say at the end of this, after credits, that the story of the father is finished. So it's like, okay, we're not going to get another game with Ethan in it.
Oh, okay.
But I wouldn't mind having one with Rose, because apparently she's got powers now. That's what the DLC was about. So I wouldn't mind something with her. But also at this point too, it's like I wouldn't mind seeing, I don't know, like another Chris game. I hope they keep the themes. Like 5 was so stupid that I enjoyed it, and I know a lot of people hated it, but like I want Boulder punching Chris back. We talked about how that was a joke in Village. One of the bosses calls out Chris as being a boulder puncher.
Great.
I mean, so it's just, I don't know. I want like a goofy Resident Evil game now that I've had like 2 serious ones back to back.
Right.
But yeah, that's it. Resident Evil Village is a great game. That's all I played this week.
All right. I have played a little bit more, a little to the left. I'm playing it every day. Talked about it because I haven't hit any milestones. I finally hit the milestone of playing 30 daily tidies in a row. So one a day for 30 days. So like the big trophy is out of the way. The rest of it is like, now I gotta play. I think I've done 40 days total. Now I have 60 more days until I get the 100-day trophy. So, and I have some little ones to clean up here and there. I have to do another run to do the like no hints, complete all the puzzles in one run thing. But that's fine. That's easy enough. So, a little to the left. Still good. Finally clicked with me. Still a good game. But now I have like the time sensitive one done and out of the way. So,
yay!
Yeah, finally. So now I can stop stressing about it. Next game here, Caravan SandWitch. Still playing through this. I am, from what I can tell, nearing the end of this game. It's not super long in kind of a positive way. I have really liked the flow of the game overall so far, because a lot of what you've been doing is you'll go out and you explore a bunch of ruins, and you'll gather a bunch of components, and you're always working towards building something, and usually it's something that will attach to your van and allow you to explore more stuff. So a lot of it is you get this upgrade and you say, oh, well, here's the next one I'm going to get. I'm going to go back and kind of explore a little bit deeper into either areas or places you've already been to, and use those tools to get either deeper into an area you've been before, or higher, or into a new area, or explore a new section of the map. And I like that because there aren't a ton of environments in this game overall. It's not this huge sprawling world for a bunch of different reasons, a bunch of different story reasons. You kind of can't explore the entire planet. If you see gameplay footage or art of it, there's this giant, like massive planet swallowing storm off in the distance, and that prevents you from exploring a significant amount of the planet. But I like this, the kind of repetition of it, going to an area, scooping up a bunch of stuff, getting more rarer and rarer components as you continue to go into these areas, and then using those to upgrade your van and go into new areas. And I've been trying to spend all week thinking of how to say this without being insulting to the game, because it's genuinely not insulting. The puzzles are really easy, but they're really rewarding, which I think is a balance most games don't strike, because the only puzzles you run into this game are largely, you go into an area and usually you'll see a door or something that you can open, and it'll have an orange cable running to it, usually to like a generator or a switch or something, that you go up, you push the button, it runs power to that thing, the door opens, the flap opens, a bridge extends, something like that. You go a little bit deeper and you kind of rinse and repeat. And it's usually really clear where you're supposed to go, because the thing you're looking at has an orange wire running back to somewhere else. But there's something fun about seeing the puzzle and saying like, oh, okay, well, I gotta get up there. Okay, how do I get up there? I have to go back outside and go around and climb up this entire building to kind of go in the top and down in, and now I have this whole set of different puzzles, and you have these light traversal and kind of platforming stuff while you're going out and doing and solving this puzzle, and all of it just feels really fun. It feels really rewarding to do this, even though you're like, yeah, I'm just going up there to push a button and opening this door to go push another button. But there's something about it that feels really, really rewarding. The writing continues to be really solid. All the characters you're running into are really good. I've run into a team of sentient robots that have managed to avoid detection by the big global conglomerate that has sort of messed up this planet, and now they're looking to gather a bunch of their friends so they can put all of them together on a server so they're not in the cloud, so that the company can't shut them down. So I have a fun mission to go do that now. It's honestly, it's really good. I appreciate when you get games like this that have a clear vision and make a game. This is a very small team. It really feels like they made a game that is within their constraints and fit their budget and fit the time and the art and everything really came together, and it just turns into this thing that if I'm going to spend 20 hours, that will probably be the max. And I'll probably do more than that because the platinum seems like it'll be easy to get, and I like being in this world. It's just really refreshing to see a team come out with something that is really solid like this. It's just a really solid game. I think my only minor complaint about this game is when you go to talk to someone or you go interact with a like a point of interest, you have to talk to that thing or interact with that thing a number of times to sort of exhaust all the dialogue options. So I missed a bunch of stuff at the beginning of the game because I'm like, oh well, I talked to them once, so I'm gonna move on. We're done talking. But they might have 3 or 4 or 5 very small conversation snippets, but you kind of don't get the entire conversation until you go through the whole thing. So
it's like some old school RPG stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like Caravan SandWitch a whole lot. I think it's only $25, and that's felt pretty fair for this game overall. So it's cool.
Cool.
I'd really recommend it so far. I'm hoping that the ending kind of pays off because I'm pretty invested in the story at this point.
How much time do you think you have in it so far?
Maybe like 15 hours.
Okay, that's not bad either.
No, and like a lot of it is there's still so much more stuff for me to do on the map, because there are points of interest I haven't found yet, and there's there's a trophy for collecting all the points of interest. There's a trophy for finishing all the missions that are available and stuff like that. So I'd like to go do that because a lot of the writing is really cool in that, and there's a lot of fun kind of meaty world building in this game. So the one thing I did forget to mention last week that I really like. No matter how far away you are from your van, when you're looking at it, the triangle button will pop up. You push that, it just teleports you back to your van. And like, sometimes it'd be like, yeah, I'm teleporting you 500 meters. It's like, cool. I'm not running. I got sidetracked and bounced between a bunch of spots. Cool. Teleport me 500 meters away. That's great. It's faster to drive this thing. So far, cool.
You're gonna say you had to pick like a land plot to land your van and
right.
No Man's Sky it.
And one of the nice options in the main menu is just return to the garage. So it just warps you all the way back to the garage in the main town, and you just brings the van with you, and you're kind of done. Moon, what were you gonna ask?
Are you still playing this with the little one?
Yeah, she's not.
Didn't click 100%.
She likes it. She doesn't like playing games overall. She likes it, and she really likes the music, because the music is this very kind of moody. There's like a lot of French singing over top of it. This is a French studio. Like it's very much a cozy, relaxing, vibe-based kind of thing. And those aren't negatives. I know a lot of people are like, oh, here's another cozy game coming. Shut up. Like that's not a negative for me. But I think it's too slow for her. I think since she's so young, it's like, I want Astrobot. That's more of like, pew, 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 look at all these particles.
I was gonna say, if she wants to increase her heart rate, may I suggest Resident Evil Village?
That's right. I'll get her right in there.
With PS VR2 support as
right.
well.
Yeah. Strap on the headset. Let's go. Yeah, so I really like this. I'm excited to kind of see where this goes and finish this thing up. This game's would really recommend checking this out if any of this kind of like chill, relaxed sort of exploration focused, because one of their big selling points was like you can't die, there's no combat, you can't lose anything, that sort of thing. Like if any of that stuff sounds good, then you're probably going to enjoy this. So Caravan SandWitch. Next up here, the Plucky Squire came out this past week. I'm playing this on PS5 since it's available on PlayStation Plus, whatever tier. I don't really care. Boy, this game leaves an incredible first impression. When you start the game, it has this very calming, gentle voiceover. The narrator is really great, and it's kind of narrating all of the text that's in the game that your characters aren't speaking. Has this really... It has the wonderful art that you've seen. You reading through and flipping the pages is really great. When you start the game and you start wandering around, every time you leave a screen, it just flips the page and you walk onto the next page. Like, all of that stuff feels really, really great. It feels great to control. The combat is really kind of straightforward, but it has been fun so far. And it just feels like this kind of Zelda-inspired adventure. You know, that kind of top-down, almost isometric 2D hack and slash. You're slashing a bunch of goblins and slimes and stuff. So far, most of the puzzles have been pretty straightforward. I have really liked the puzzles where you are removing words from the page and putting other words there. So you're kind of changing the layout and the landscape of the page itself by manipulating the sentences that are on the page. That stuff is really, really interesting. Okay. There's one of the first boss fights you run into is just Punch-Out, where you're like punching a kangaroo, because it like you rip off your sleeves like Yakuza style, and you're just incredibly buff. You just punch the poops out of this kangaroo. It's really weird. The beginning of this game, I'm going through it kind of chronologically for a reason, it's leading up to something. You go through and you meet up with your friends and you do some interesting stuff. There's some really cool scenes in this game where the book turns and you're kind of going down the pages vertically, like you're climbing down a cliff, and all of a sudden the book turns and you're doing a 2D side-scrolling thing down the long part of the page. It's really, really interesting. And you run into your first boss fight and you kind of take out the boss, and I had almost forgotten about this because the room that the book exists in was largely set dressing for the majority of the beginning of the game, and they've talked about this in the trailers and stuff, so it's not a spoiler or anything. But you fight this boss and he kicks you out of the book. It's a really, really, really cool scene where you get forced out of this book in a way that's really neat, and you lose your sword. It stays in the book. And here's where the game completely falls apart in a way that is shockingly, like, startlingly weird. So you're doing all this 2D stuff, you're playing this game, and when you get out of the book, you're in a 3D world exploring the desk of the kid who's writing books based on your adventures. So it's like the kid really loves the Plucky Squire book, and he loves Jot, who's your character, and he's going to write more books because he loves reading these books so much. But the bad guy, Hump Grump, I think it is Humgrump, something like that. It's a very kid-focused game.
Yeah.
He pushes you out of the book, and he wants to get rid of this book so that no one can write more stories based on this. You don't have your weapon anymore, and it's focused on 3D exploration, because it moves from a 2D to a 3D game when you're out on the desk. There's something off about the controls that I still can't put my finger on. In 2D, when you're playing the like Zelda hack and slash stuff, feels perfect. I really don't have any complaints about how that feels. When you're in the 3D stuff, it controls fine, but there's something a little off about it that I'm still trying to figure out that feels a little frustrating. I feel like graphically it's a little bit off, and I'm not, it doesn't look bad, but I think this game kind of suffers from the 2D stuff looking so good and bright and vibrant, and like it looks just like that dude's art. Mm-hmm. That when you move into the 3D stuff and it's a little bit flat, it's really flat. Like it looks so washed out comparatively, because you're moving from this really vibrant, incredible stuff to a real life room. You know, it's a little bit like of a letdown. And then it goes into, I cannot tell you the last time I've run into this, a forced stealth section with one-shot kills. So you're running through, it's maybe 15, 20 minutes of this section where you're trying to avoid these beetles that this kid has all over his room. And anytime any of them see you, they reach over, they like run over and they kill you, and you have to restart at the beginning of that screen. And what no, like I don't even know how to describe how annoyed and frustrated and almost disappointed I was when I was playing this game, because it's just like we are so past that. We learned those lessons on the PS1, maybe the PS2 if you didn't get the message.
People still do stealth sections like that. That like the Star Wars Outlaw game had the exact same kind of thing as well.
That should be illegal. You can't do that. Like, so it's been this kind of 1-2 punch of, I'm not in the 2D game where I want to play. And my complaint so far has been like, it's a little bit wordy, but it's fine. It's not a real super negative. Mm-hmm. Into this other part of the game that the puzzles are pretty straightforward, and it doesn't really look that great, and you have this stealth section, and then I eventually get back into the book. You do some pretty straightforward puzzling in there where you're like jumping in and out of like sketched pages that are all over the desk. So it's a lot of like, oh, I don't know how to get through here. I'll jump into a drawing, I'll navigate through the drawing itself, and then hop back out and I'll be in this other area. Or like I hopped into a poster, I'm gonna platform through the poster, get to another area, and then I'll be around what I need to get to. But by the time I got back into the book, I was so frustrated by what I played that I saved the game and I turned it off. Because I'm like, that section was so frustrating, and so, like, I would have been okay if it would have just been some platforming and like, oh, he drew some lava on the desk and you can't go in this area because it's lava. That would have been fine. But the stealth section with the one-shot kills, so frustrating, man. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. So
that sucks.
Yeah, I'd like to stick with this game because I think the 2Ds, it feels like it's finally starting to take the training wheels off a little bit, and I got into this new kind of wetlands swamp area, and it showed, the thing that I don't like when adventure games do that, where it like zooms out and kind of shows you like, here's the exit, here's the puzzle, it does that sweep around where it's like puzzles in the game are not hard enough for you to like have to show me the ropes. If it's for kids,
and it's not in a 3D environment where you have to show me points of interest.
Yeah, I'm like only on this one screen. So, and if it's a kids game, then that's fine. I understand what that is. Also, there's some really good accessibility options for like invincibility and one-shot kills. So like every time you hit an enemy, they just die. That's great. But I want to stick with it for, at least for a little bit longer, because it feels like they're taking the training wheels off, and I'd like to see, once everybody stops talking so much, and once I can get into, let's do some combat, let's do some puzzles, let's kind of open some stuff up a little bit. Does it get better? Do future 3D sections get better? But if I run into another 3D section where I have to do the avoiding the enemies, the stealth stuff,
yeah.
I'm out. Like that's not what I'm here for. So so far it seems really interesting, but I've been kind of surprised about the kind of dual nature of it, and the 3D stuff from trailers and coverage has seemed really interesting, of like, going in and out of all this stuff in this environment, but so far it hasn't really turned out like that. So we'll see. Plucky Squire. Jury's out at the moment. So.
Yep.
Astrobot. Got two games here. Astrobot. I have finished the game. So I've fought the final boss. That was really cool. That I talked, I think it was last week, about like, I've been impressed with how much this hasn't relied on nostalgia and kind of the Sony brand as much as the Astro's Playroom has.
Oh.
The end of the game was very much that, which I don't mind. I can understand why people would be pretty pessimistic about this game and its nostalgia. I don't super mind a lot of that stuff.
I think the bigger issue was that it wasn't so much that this game had nostalgia stuff in it, as the CEO of Sony talking about how they don't have good single player mascots for PlayStation.
He came out,
and
people aren't reading his whole quote. He came out and said they don't really have any IPs to leverage. They were really talking about movies. I mean, they are also sleeping on a ton of game stuff, which I think Astrobot kind of brings into stark contrast of like, look at all these cool games you used to make on like PS1 and PS2. Where'd those go?
I know Ape Escape got a whole bunch of love based on an appearance in this. Made by the same studio who made this, ironically.
Yeah, so minor spoilers here, but like I talked about before, where every time you defeat a boss, it unlocks a new it's like an homage level, let's call it. The first one is Ape Escape, and you just play Ape Escape. You are playing that character, and you have the net, and you're hunting down apes in this giant level. And it's like, yeah, man,
so
those games were great.
Yeah, Ape Escape was the original, you need a DualShock controller for this. Let me show you what this controller can do kind of game. And it feels hilarious to me.
Yeah, super weird way.
It feels hilarious to me that like the developers who made a game to show the strength of the original DualShock controller are making a game which shows you the strength of the PlayStation 5 controller.
Right. Yeah. So I really liked that. I thought it was really interesting. I then went and got all of the rest of the bots in the game. So I have all 305 bots because I unlocked the 4 additional ones from Astro's Playroom. Those were actually pretty fun if people haven't gone to do those. Also, you need to watch a video for how to do those. I have absolutely no idea how I'm supposed to figure out how to do those for any of them. So you should really watch. If you don't need to watch a video for all those, you know way too much about the PlayStation history. I don't know what to tell you. So I did that, and the thing you unlock there is interesting and fairly difficult. There are a number of optional levels in that game that are really, really, really challenging. I think there's one level that I think is a little bit much. It's kind of a lava one where you pick up this rubber duck and it shoots out a bunch of water, and you're making disappearing platforms on the lava. It is one of the hardest levels I've played in a platformer in a really long time. So I unlocked a bunch of stuff there. I am now working on unlocking everything from the gacha machine to sort of wrap up all the trophies, because a lot of the trophies in the game are, you unlocked this accessory for this person out of the gacha machine. You need to go then interact with them, and they'll do kind of like a funny thing, like you dance with Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. So it's those, and then I think there's like 2 or 3 levels where there's something I need to do in that specific level. But the rest of it is largely just going to be wrapping up trophies for the platinum, because I'm having a good time playing Astrobot, and I want to kind of keep playing this game. So if that means I have a bunch of fun stuff to do for the platinum, I'm going to do that. So Astrobot, thumbs up. Love it. Excited for whatever DLC they're going to come out with, because it seems like they might put a bunch of speedrun DLC in like they had in Playroom. So those levels were a lot of fun. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, final game here, UFO 50. Let's talk about UFO 50 here. We talked about this during releases last week, that this is the 50 games in one compilation that Derek Yu of Spelunky fame and a whole bunch of other people have worked on. I didn't realize that there were, at the end of at various points of the project, there were 8 total people working on this game. And interesting thing that I found out was, at some point, everybody kind of worked on everybody else's game. So it turned into this giant collaboration. It wasn't just, oh, these 2 games are by this one dude, and these 5 games are by this one dude. Like, everybody had their hand in all of these. I really like how this game is presented, because the very first thing it opens up with is one of those old style crack screens where it has the electronic music playing and stuff is swirling and spinning around, and it's basically the like in-universe lore is that the UFO 50 restoration team has restored all 50 of these, like the first 50 video games that UFO Soft put out on their fake console. It's called the LX, I think. And when you fire up the game, you just get the 50 icons, and the default sorting is chronological order, which I would recommend. It starts in 1982, ends in 1989, if I remember correctly. And I think it's fun to play in chronological order, because sometimes you'll play a game that has a character that shows up as either an optional character in something else, or it's a sequel or a spin-off. Like there's this one game that has a racing game spin-off later on. So I think that's kind of the most interesting way to play it. I really like that this game starts off with a game called Barbuda, which is ridiculously and almost incomprehensibly hard and kind of not misleading, but it's very much an 82 game where it's like, yeah, man, you just need to stick with it to figure it out. None of these games really have, in a way that I think is interesting, none of these games really have instruction manuals. When you're looking at them on the main screen, you can look at info about the game of like, here's what you get for a gold trophy on the game. It's usually beat the game. And here's how to get, this is like a Chow Garden thing. Here's how to get a present in the Chow Garden for this like businessman who's in there. Okay. It has controls. It has like how long you've played it, how many different stats for each game. what the ranking is for like the games you've played the most. And it's like, this is your third most played game, things like that. And then the last tab on that little card is the history of the game itself. Of like, oh, this is a game that came about in 1984 because the UFOsoft engineers just made this for a game jam, and it turned out to a full complete game. So that stuff I think is really interesting. There's also a terminal in the game, like you can type stuff into a computer terminal. I have no idea what that's for. I'm assuming there's some sort of meta game that I haven't unlocked yet.
So cheat codes abound.
I think it's one of those like behind the curtain secret things that I'm trying not to be spoiled on. So we'll find out more of that. But I played Barbuda. I'm not going to talk about. I've played 25 of the games because I haven't had a ton of time this week. And also, they're all full games. Like, they are all complete, 100% finishable, full products. Which I know a lot of people have said, like, they're not just mini games. They are not just mini games. They are actual full games. So I played Barbuda as the first one, poked around there for a little bit. I will probably need to draw a map in it. I had this hilarious thing where you start on this title screen. I thought, oh, well, you could go right or left. I thought, oh, like Metroid, I'll go left. I explored for a whole bunch of time. I didn't really find anything super interesting. And I thought, oh, I ended up back at the beginning. So I'll go right this time. And I take 2 steps right, and a giant stone falls from the ceiling and splats me. And I was like, yep, perfect. Great. I love it. 2 thumbs up. That one seems really interesting, but I'll have to stick with that. I'll go through all of these games here because some of them are going to be really quick. Bug Hunter is the second one. I have no clue what I'm doing in this game at all. This game seems way deeper than I have any idea at this point. I'm going to have to spend some time with this one. This is largely a kind of grid-based top-down puzzle game. Also, interestingly, a bunch of these games have 2-player modes or like co-op or versus modes. So you can play this one with 2 players at the same time. So that one I spent very little time with because I tried to play it. There's going to be a bunch of these games where I'm like, I tried playing this and I don't understand what I'm doing at all. So I will get back to that at some point. Ninpek is the third game here. Is an auto-scrolling platformer shooter ninja game. It's really interesting, but this is definitely one of those games that I think you're gonna have to spend time with for a little bit to get good at, as opposed to just playing it once and finishing it. One of the standouts I think here is Paint Chase. You play as a race car that has a paint roller on the back of it, and you are playing Splatoon, essentially. So you're trying to cover a certain percentage of the map and trying to cover more than the enemy team is. It's not multiplayer or anything, but that one is actually pretty interesting. I think that one's really cool. So I want to spend a little bit more time playing that one. But that one, there are a couple of games in this collection so far that have been like, oh, I get it immediately. Perfect. Okay, now I see what we're doing. One of those, very much the opposite of these games, Magic Garden. It's a snake, but you have to
like a snake game. Yeah,
you have to drop the snake off in a area, and anytime you bump into literally anything, when you don't have a power up, you lose completely. So that's been a lot of like, okay, I kind of like this, but it's pretty punishing at the moment. So Magic Garden is interesting. Mortal. This has been one of the wildest experiences. You go into this game and it's a platformer, and the game tells you, all right, start level 1, you've got 20 lives. And I was like, all right, let's do this. 20 lives. Yeah, okay, here we go. And it gives you the instructions about, like, hit the action button to jump, hit the down button to turn yourself into a stone, hit the up button to, like, blow yourself up, and hit something else to, like, turn into an arrow. And what you have to do is you have to sacrifice your lives to create platforms to get deeper into the level. So if you run into like a brick wall that you can't go through, you need to blow up that character you're playing as, so the next character can go through the hole that you've just opened up. Like, you can't scale this platform.
Okay.
You need to turn into an arrow and, like, drive your character into there. That way the next person can jump on them and get deeper into the level. It's really, really cool. And it turns into this really interesting puzzle game where you only have 20 lives. So how do you get through the level and get that last person through the final gate to finish the level? It's really interesting. It's one of those things.
So that's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's like, I think, before I go on to more of these games, the thing that I really like about this game is you have some incredible indie game makers that are just making cool things that they don't need to sell. Like, what's the game you've always wanted to make in this kind of retro style? Like, what's the game idea you've always had? Let's just make it, man. Who cares? And I think you see that in something like Mortal, where it's like, okay, you're kind of sacrificing lives to then get the next person deeper into the level. It's really, really neat. Velgress is a very fast-paced double jumping, almost like a reverse Downwell. I know the guy who made Downwell also made something in here. I would probably guess it's going to be this game. This game is like way faster than I was expecting it to be. I've not spent a ton of time with this because there's like a kill wall coming up behind you. So every time you jump, you just have to keep going up. So it's a lot, man. So I still not sure about that one. Planet Zoldath, spent very little time with this. It's like an isometric exploration, randomly generated roguelike sort of thing that I don't understand at all quite yet. This one seems really, really difficult. A Tactics, which is a really great name for a game, is a like fortress defense game where you're clashing two sides against each other, and if a unit kills another unit, they get stronger, and you attack the castle by getting to the other side. I spent very little time with this one so far because this one seems like another one that you kind of have to spend a bunch of time with. But seems really interesting. Devolition, I don't understand how to play this game at all. I'm not going to lie to anybody. It almost seems like every Extend Extra Extreme, where you're trying to set up chain reactions to maximize points or whatever you're doing. I do not understand it yet, so I gotta come back to that one. Kick Club is a essentially Bubble Bobble, but you're playing soccer players. This one is pretty interesting, but I didn't spend much time with that one either, because that one seems like, all right, if I want to play a platformer, or if I want to do something like that, like you'll but it also sort of looks like MC Kids, which is interesting. It's wild. Avianos, I have zero idea of how to play this game at all. I will probably have to look up instructions. I can't even begin to tell you what to do in this game because I genuinely have no idea. Next game is Mooncat. This game is infuriating, and I sort of love it. So you play
Is
as...
it a roguelike?
No. I don't even know what the hell this game is. It's ostensibly a platformer, but all of the buttons, all of the directional buttons move your character left, and all of the face buttons move your character right. And hitting both at the same time make your character jump. And then hitting something, I don't remember what, makes your character fall. So it turns into this absolutely wonderful, infuriating video game of you just trying to get your brain to work correctly to make this character jump, nevertheless get through an actual level. So I have not gotten through an actual level because it is incredibly difficult. But I kind of love it in like a sick way. Bushido Ball is a ninja Windjammers. You can play that 2 players. It's pretty fun. You have like special ninja powers. It's literally just Windjammers, but it's great. Block Koala, another game that I genuinely don't understand. It's a block pushing game, but I kind of don't understand what I'm supposed to do. So it's one of those games where I really will need to spend some time and I enjoy it. Like, I need to find a way to decipher this game. And I haven't really deciphered it at this point. Camouflage is one I actually really do like. It's a puzzle game where you are a chameleon and you are trying to avoid predators by changing your color and avoiding sort of these lanes where they can see. So it's kind of interesting thing where you're switching back and forth between different colors and trying to find the most optimal path through these levels. So it's not the most detailed or complex one, but I think it seems pretty neat. Campanella is number 17. This is a lunar lander type of game, except you have like a slash button, so you can kind of slash things that are in front of you. That one seems okay, but I am exceptionally bad at it. So I'm hoping that I get the handle of it at some point, but I will need to dedicate some more time to that one as well. Golfaria. This game can only exist in this collection. It looks like a golfing game when you start, but you play as like a living golf ball in a golf ball city, and you're off on an adventure in an open world where you're hitting the ball to explore and like talk to people and go do dungeons and stuff, but you only have 20 strokes to get to where you're gonna go. It sort of feels like a fever dream in a way that I really like, but I think this is another one that you can't just dip into and out of. Like, you need to kind of get a handle on the town itself and the dungeons and all that stuff. So I spent a little bit of time with this, but this seems really cool in a way that also maybe sounds like I'm a crazy person explaining it, which is fair. But I don't know about that one. The Big Bell Race is a spin-off game from that Lunar Lander game I was just talking about, except this time it's a racing game with all the little like bell-shaped UFO things. Okay. So that's been kind of fun. It's probably one of the easier games of the collection so far, which I think has been interesting. And it's basically like just do 8 laps and you win. And if you blow up, you just go back to the start again. Number 20, one of my favorite ones in this collection, hands down, Warp Tank. This is a game where every time you hit the action button, you flip gravity. So you move from the floor to the ceiling, you move from one wall to the other wall. It's really, really neat. I think I spent like 45 minutes just playing this game at one point because I was like, oh yeah, Warp Tank. yeah, this game's cool as hell. So this is also where I learned that each one of these games, when you exit them, because every time you exit games, you go back to the game selection menu. Every time you exit them, it does save your progress. So it doesn't really, you don't have to go through and beat all of these games all in one go. You can make progress and save progress and stuff like that. This game is really, really cool. It sounds pretty simple, and it is really pretty simple. But there's something about it that I like, and I think that's probably going to be the kind of long-lasting legacy of this game is like, oh man, you guys don't like Warp Tank? I love Warp Tank. That's my favorite. It's like, no, I love Campanella. Like these kind of games that really click with you. Waldorf's Journey, number 21. I'm almost done here. I don't like this game at all. You are throwing a walrus from platform to platform to do something that I don't know what the win condition is quite yet. This game is fine, but I really not my jam so far. But I sort of feel like I'm missing the point of it. But I sort of haven't figured out what the point is quite yet. So I got to spend more time with that one. Porgy, you play as a underwater like marine biologist driving a ship that looks like a fish, and you need to explore the depths. This one seems really, really cool, and I did not have the time to dig into this one yet. I think this one is going to be considerably longer than a lot of the other ones. So I think that one is one you're going to have to kind of sit down with, because one of the things that they were talking about when this game launched is like, yeah, some of these games are just going to be kind of more arcadey games, and some of these games are going to be like full-blown RPGs or dungeon crawlers or platformers or things like that might take you like 10 or so hours to complete. So it's not all just, shoot 'em ups and things like that. Onion Delivery is number 23. It's GTA 1 and 2 / Crazy Taxi, sort of. You get that kind of top-down GTA 1 and 2 style where you're driving a car in that perspective, but you're racing from point to point to pick up or deliver something. I genuinely don't know. And after beating the first level, I started the second level, and there's just a giant onion with arms and legs that's attacking the town and chasing after my delivery vehicle. And that I lost that level very quickly.
Like the Doritos game?
Yeah, I forgot about that game. Was something Crash?
Doritos Crash Course.
Crash Course. Yeah, yep, you got it. So that game's wild. I still not sure what to think about that one. Caramel is number 24 here. It is a shmup, like a side-scrolling shmup, but you can take pictures, and every time you take a picture, it shows up as like the Polaroid frame. Enemies or bullets or whatever that is captured in that frame freeze. So if you have stuff that's coming at you that you need to stop or you need to put a bunch of damage into, you just take a picture of them and freeze them there and do a bunch of damage before the picture disappears. That seems really neat, and I probably would have played more of this if the 25th game didn't capture all of my time, which is Party House. This is a game I have easily spent the most time in, and you're throwing a house party, and you need to earn popularity and money to continue to... Popularity lets you invite more people. You add them to your Rolodex, and money allows you to expand your house so you can have more people at the party. And a lot of this turns into being... All right, you've invited 3 people so far, but one of them's a troublemaker, so I want to use this other character class to either negate them or kick them out. That way the party doesn't get too out of control, so the cops don't come. And it's this neat kind of like almost logic puzzle where you're figuring out how to manipulate and manage all of these people at once to eventually get to some point where you've invited like the last party member a number of times to win the level. And I haven't won the level quite yet, but I've gotten pretty close. And it's one of those games that I don't know if it sounds super exciting when you're explaining it, or maybe when you're looking at footage of it. But as soon as I started playing it, and as soon as I figured it out, I'm like, oh, no, okay, this is actually really good. I need to... This is a very cool and very unique type of game. Almost like a board game, kind of. So those are the first 25 UFO 50 games that I've played. I'm trying not to jump around, and I'm trying not to be my usual stubborn self of like, no, I'm going to master this game all the way through. Because there are 50 games in here, and so many of them are so creative and high quality and unique. I really want to see a lot of those. So I don't want to really kind of linger too long. So UFO 50, that's it so far. I'll be diving into this. It is on PC only at the moment. Seems like they're working on console versions of this. There's nothing in this game that requires a keyboard and a mouse. So far, I'm just playing this through my Steam Link with a controller. So hopefully they bring it to console sooner than later, because this is a really, really cool thing. I think this is really neat. So I'll talk about this more over the upcoming weeks as I dive more into this stuff. But that's UFO 50. We've been recording for a while, so let's take a break.
Yep. Be right back. Go to the bathroom.
All right. Take your time. Well, how long have we been recording? 2:38? Okay, let's cut some news stories here.
Oh man.
Well, maybe not. There's not a lot. There's not a lot to cut. Some of those news stories
there's
are
some
pretty short.
stuff, and it'll be pretty quick.
I did just see on Twitter that Concerned Ape mentioned that the big update, the 1.6 update for consoles, is coming out November 4th for Stardew Valley. So that's coming. That's on the way.
Nice.
It sounds like that has been a real challenge for... Thankfully, the Stardew community is generally pretty chill, but that has sounded like it has been a real trial. Just a bummer.
Has there been any updates? Because I'm not really following it on his next game. What was it, Chocolatier?
Yeah, Haunted Chocolatier. He said that when he got a little burnt out on working on Chocolatier, he went back to work on Stardew Valley for 1.6, and it sounds like he kind of his sort of plan at the moment is to flip between the two, of like he's going to work on one until he gets burnt out. He has sort of revitalized his interest in the other one. He'll work on that for a whole bunch of time until he kind of runs out of steam, and then switch back to the other one, which, and that's a cool idea for just like, all right, I don't want to see Stardew Valley here for a while. Let's work on this cool new thing. So
yeah,
that seems like a neat idea.
Well, it's nice that he's got himself in a position that he can do that too.
Oh, 100%. Like, I played a little bit of 1.6 on my PC version, but when this comes to consoles, I'll probably check it out again, because there's, like usual, there's just a considerable amount of new stuff that got added in that version. So
cool.
Good for him too. The only thing is, I feel really badly for him because he's like overly apologetic and overly like guilt stricken about all this stuff happening and these delays happening, and it's like, look, development, especially for console stuff, is so hard. It's not like just a Steam version where it's like, all right, it's done, we're pushing the button, let's go. Like, you have all this extra stuff, and like he said, I think it was today, Well, someone asked him, like, not trying to be a jerk, but like, why is this taking so long to come out? And he's just like, he can't patch as fast as he can on Steam when he puts out a console version. Like, you have to go through all this extra stuff. You have to pay all this extra money to get a console patch out. So like, it sort of has to be largely right when it comes out, because you can't just be like, oops, here's a new patch. Oh, 10 minutes later, here's a new patch. Like, that doesn't exist.
Well, I forgot what I was reading, but somebody was talking about how a lot of games on PC and Steam specifically aren't releasing full 1.0 because when they put a final product out, there's a lot more to do with patching and everything else. But if you keep it as a less than 1.0, like a beta version of it,
right,
you're still pretty free to do whatever you want.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't heard that.
Take from that what you will about how video games are nowadays, but
right.
And I don't remember. I would have to pull the article up to see where I was even reading that or who was actually speaking about it, because I think it was an indie developer that was talking about it. It wasn't someone like EA where it's like, oh yeah, we just crapped this thing out as
That's right.
version 0.6.
It's an early access for 15 years. Wink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of September 23rd, 2024. Epic Mickey Rebrushed comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, Switch, and PC. As another one of our list of goofy remaster titles here, Rebrushed.
I was going to say, is this a third one? Or,
Yeah.
Because they've only made two main ones, right?
Yeah, this is a remaster of the first one.
Okay.
So it looks like they just kind of largely it's that game, just a little bit higher res, I think. Yeah. So I never played those games. Did you guys?
I would say I have not, but I've heard everyone who has had really good things to say about them.
Yeah,
so
that's what I always heard. Yeah, but it came out on the Wii first, and I was like, well, I don't want to play one of these games on the Wii. I'm like playing stuff on the 360. Why would I do this stuff? So I'm like, no.
Well, the second one was locked to a console for the longest time too, wasn't it?
Wii U, maybe?
It was a Wii game, I believe.
Yeah.
Both of them were Wii games? Okay, because I know
yeah.
one of them eventually did come out to different consoles, but the other one was locked to a console for the longest time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, interesting. Next one, I'm sorry to tell you, Balatro is coming out on iOS and Android this week. It's also available on Apple Arcade day and date. So...
Sorry, I fell asleep. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, nothing happened. Certainly nothing's going on.
Coming to a device that has power near you.
Yeah, if you haven't played Balatro before, you need to. It is my easiest recommendation for, you need to check this thing out. It is a poker roguelike. I mean, that's sort of the shortest way of describing it, but it is ridiculously, incredibly good. And I am absolutely going to lose way too much time playing this on mobile. So, yeah, there goes. I was just talking pre-show. I'm doing really great, reading a ton of books this year. That stops this week, apparently.
Yep.
So, sorry, books.
Best of luck with that.
Yeah, I got Balatro. Go play Balatro. Also, another game we talked about here on We Rogue Like It, Go Mecha Ball, comes out PS4, PS5, and Switch. All hail ball mode. This game is cool. It is a isometric, actiony, third-person shooter, Marble Madness roguelike. And it works.
So how it works?
It works really well. This game was a lot of fun. It is, I think the thing that we were most pleased by is that it is a fast game, but it is just the right speed. It is not faster than it really needs to be. So go check out Go Mecha Ball. That was our last game we talked about on We Were Like It, and it was really, really great. It's very cool. Next game, I have no idea this was coming out this week. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom comes out on the Switch.
I thought that was a November game.
Yeah, I thought we had like a couple of months before this one came out, but nope, it's coming out.
This is real Legend of Zelda game, right?
Yes.
No, the Legend of Link. Yep.
Yeah, the actual playing as Zelda's, copying items and smacking people with beds and tables and stuff.
God, those wrestling memes with her in the chair
They're very
were
good.
hilarious.
Yep. I'm really curious about this because it seems to be a more puzzle focused game, which I really like. My only concern and kind of worry about this game is that it looks like it's running on the Link's Awakening remake engine, which struggled on the Switch.
Yeah.
Not frequently, but enough to be annoying. I'm kind of worried about how this is going to perform. So normally I'd be like, "Yep, picking this up. Let's go right off the bat." But I think I'm going to wait on this one and see where the performance ends up on this. Maybe it's a good Switch 2 launch game. Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows?
Last game here, we have Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition. Comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and Switch. This is
So
a
many
digital
Worms
Eclipse
games.
game. I played so much Worms Armageddon when I was a kid. And these games are really great. They do have online play for up to 6 players.
Oh, jeez.
This is really a game that you want to play multiplayer anyway, because you really just do want to torture your friends.
Yes.
And I don't know when I'll pick this up, but I feel like I probably should pick this up just to have it and just play these Worms games. Maybe my kid will enjoy them when she gets old enough.
I'm sure Limited Run will do a physical version of this.
I hate you so much.
Listen, my son and I played the last Worms game together for quite a while.
The Battle Royale one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one seemed to be 50-50 on if people liked it or just really hated it, but we enjoyed it. So
yeah. I don't know. Worms Armageddon is super cool, so we'll see how that. Hopefully they still have the Scouse accent option, because that's the that's the real
baby.
That's a real good one.
Let me tell you about representation. The only representation my city got when I was a kid was this.
Team 17 games, yeah.
Victorious.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good. All right, that's all releases. Let's talk a couple quick news stories. The Pacific Drive devs throw up their hands and say, "Hey, man, we're tired of you complaining about the difficulty of this game. You do it," which I really love. They just put out an option that says, "Hey, here's 50 sliders and options for you to just change the difficulty for the game however you want," and I like it.
Still haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
I haven't either. I was hoping to check it out at some point this week, and I ran out of time. But
I didn't think it was that difficult of a game.
Granted,
I think I'm only like maybe a quarter of the way into the story. You guys played it way more than I did.
I think it gets challenging the further you get in, but I think the number of ways the game gives you to mitigate that stuff, you have to invest in the car to mitigate those challenges, which I think kind of makes sense.
Me saying it's not that difficult doesn't mean there aren't challenges. I just didn't think there were unfair challenges.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
What I think is really interesting is not only do they have those 50 different settings, they also have a bunch of presets now. So it's like Joyride keeps the base game difficulty and reduces the crafting requirements. Pacific Drive is kind of the regular difficulty. There's like a scenic mode that's basically like you can just drive your way right through this game. Sorry. They have Mechanics Road Trip makes the car more susceptible to damage, and then the ultimate, like highest difficulty, is Iron Wagon, where if you die, it deletes your save.
It's such a good name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is really, really great, and you can modify stuff like off-road handling, flat tire severity, storm speed, crafting requirements. Like it seems like every option in this game you can modify using the system, which I think is super cool. And also, I really admire the devs for continuing to support this game in like interesting foundational ways, because I get the impression that the game sold relatively well, but most developers at this point would be like, I'm not letting you change all these difficulty up. Like that's a massive undertaking for a game that's in production, nevertheless a game that's out. Like most people would be like, yeah, we're saving that one for the second one. It's like, yep, sure, I get it. So big props to them for just putting out one giant update after another.
You just need to be able to save in the middle of a run.
Right.
That's all I wanted.
Hopefully someday.
It's great that we have all these, but I don't always have 45 minutes.
These runs can be long, yeah. Next news story here, and the big one this week, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are suing Pal World developer. There's been a ton of misinformation about this week because Nintendo's statement was very short and initially only in Japanese. The core of it here, directly from the press release, is, quote, "This lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights," end quote. That's the lawsuit. It's not... They're jealous they made a Pokemon game. It's not... This thing got too successful.
Some of these outright look like Pokemon.
Right. You know? It's like... It might be some of that stuff as well, but it is... Nintendo's coming out and saying... Also specifically, Nintendo's saying, like, we're not telling you what patents they're breaking. A bunch of investigative journalists have come out this week and said, like, these are probably the patents they're breaking, like throwing a ball on the field to catch a monster.
Yeah.
Also, video game patents like that shouldn't exist at all in general. It's probably a good time to shine that light on this thing.
It's just dumb things. Like, you can't... Yeah, you can't do that. You can't have mini games on a load screen.
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about that.
You can't have scrolls as the title of your video game.
Right, like... Yeah. It's ridiculous. And I really
can't show a shadow through foliage if it's an isometric game.
I saw that this week. Thanks, Nintendo, for that one, too. I really like Pocket Pair, the developers of Palworld, that came out and said this week, they're like, hey, do you have a comment on this? And like, yeah, we don't know what we're accused of infringing on. We know as much as you guys do right now, so I don't know. We'll figure it out. And Nintendo's like... When Kotaku specifically asked for Nintendo, we'll refrain from commenting on topics that relate to the content of the lawsuit, end quote. Cool. Okay.
I saw a hashtag conspiracy theory part of this, which makes me laugh. But it's one of those, what's the conspiracy theory that you think might be true kind of thing.
Oh, sure. Right.
And someone was like, yeah, they didn't really care until all of a sudden they started doing like merchandising and
right, they signed for movie rights with Sony, I think it was. Movie and TV rights.
Pokemon games are not where Pokemon makes its money.
No, absolutely not.
Pokemon makes its money in plushies, in movies, in
anime,
merch.
and the TCG, and
it's ironic that they didn't hit this lawsuit until that kind of stuff came out.
It's a very much like you're getting too big in this town for the Dawn. And it's like, we're going to put a hit out on that Pal World. So, I don't know. As someone who finds this stuff interesting, the understandable but frustrating part of this, we will probably not hear anything about this for a couple of years. So
and then when we do, it'll be there's a settlement or the case has been dropped, and that's it.
Yeah, check episode like 1132 of TVGP for when we talk about like, hey, remember Pal World?
Yeah, Pal World creators still don't know what they're being sued for.
That's right. I guess we settled for something. I don't know. So that one's interesting. Last quick news story we have here: EA says they are not working on The Sims 5, which is also another incredibly surprising news story based on them being EA. But they basically said, like, we don't want players to have to restart from scratch with another Sims game. So we're going to invest in a, quote, a massive Sims platform, end quote. It looks like they're taking the Sims 4 and kind of turning that into the Sims game that you're going to be playing forever. Which isn't
dandy. It's
too surprising.
Yeah.
I think my initial question was, okay, cool, but you had that Project Renee that you showed off, maybe a year ago or so, where it was basically like, this looks like Sims 5, but they showed a lot of the home designing area of the game that looked way better, and I was like, okay, if you're gonna make a Sims 5, that's the portion of the game that you really improve on. And they said like, oh yeah, Project Renee, that's not canceled. We're doing a closed multiplayer test this autumn. It's like, for what is it then now? Like, what's this thing?
DLC or something
Gonna be mobile something probably? I don't know. So I thought that one was really interesting because I think normally you look at EA of just like, yep, here's Sims 5 and then 500 packs, and once sales slow down on the 400 expansions we put out on that, here's the Sims 6. We're churning them out. Let's go. But it's interesting to see them say, no thanks.
Well, I think a lot of that may be because of how many packs are in Sims 4 that they would have to force to work with 5.
Yeah.
Because people do not want to rebuy. Sims 4's been out for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money.
If you're buying packs or expansions as they come out, or you're buying them every once in a while here or there while they're on sale, that's still a lot of not only like monetary investment, but time investment of, here's the 400 hours I played of The Sims 4.
My wife gets mad when she has to basically major in programming because the update in Sims 4 broke all of her mods, and she has to go in and fix everything.
Yeah, she's rolling up her sleeves, opening up Notepad++, and be like, all right, bring me a coffee. I got work to do. Like, yeah. It's
so...
Go ahead.
They're taking the IO interactive approach to this.
Yeah.
So my question is do we now have a world of simulation?
I mean, I think that's one of the things that I'm really interested in is like, do they rebrand it in the way that Hitman did? Like, do you just call it The Sims? Do you call it
that would be my go-to.
World of Sims? Like,
I mean, you look at things like Dead by Daylight. Like, they have had several significant jumps to their engine over the years since that game got released. But that engine is still at its core super scalable. Like you're looking for the Warcraft model. You want the thing to be, and The Sims is perfect for this because it's not realistic.
Right.
So you have the stylized look and feel to everything.
It runs.
And you could scale that
no
from
physics in the game either. So
yeah, you could run that from a laptop, like a Chromebook, all the way through to your highest power gaming rigs.
Right.
And if you can get that thing on as many of those things as possible, that's a big marketplace that you've opened up.
That's true. Yeah. So it's interesting. I think, as much as I want to be like EA bad, and they are, it's interesting to hear a developer and publisher basically say like the spreadsheet has finally flipped of like there's too much investment, there's too much positivity on staying with The Sims 4, and there's too much negativity on like stripping it back to basics and starting back over with Sims 5, where market research has probably told them a lot of people are not doing that. Like, a lot of people are just, oh, you put out a new Sims game? That's cool. Yeah. I'm gonna keep playing Sims 4 until I can't anymore. So like, why not support that segment of players that are still playing Sims 4, and kind of invest in those is probably better business choices.
And honestly, we'll get a news story a year from now showing, oh yeah, they didn't do it because they had blockchain running on this the entire time. And
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. All right, that's all of our news stories this week, which means we are at the end of our 5-star runtime on yet another episode If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Please don't forget to go to patreon.com/E1M1.
I was muted on the ones and numbers.
Remember the $5 tier, the Fun for a Fiver tier is the recommended tier that gets you everything. Anything above and beyond that is greatly appreciated. Tell your rich friends. If you can't support us financially, totally understand, as we've been talking about capitalism for years. The best way to support us is go to YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. That stuff really does help. Feeds the algorithm. It makes the algorithm happy. And rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice if you're able to. Remember, only positive reviews, please. I'm not above saying if you hate the show, cool, just go find something else to do.
Constructive criticism.
Sure. Email
is
that.
allowed.
Yeah, email that.
We have a
Discord. Just saying,
we have
because
we
you
have
guys
Discord for that.
rainbows and stuff. It's like, no, get out of here with that crap.
Yeah. And I don't know where else to find us. The internet is...
We're everywhere.
The internet is garbage. We're everywhere and nowhere.
Yes. Correction. DuckDuckGo it, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. You'll be able to find us there. Also, campsite.bio/E1M1. You can get all the links to social media and all the various shows and sites and all that stuff over there. That's everything. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Nymph.
I'll say, how's that Liquid Death going for you?
Still good. It's got the
all
little,
right.
spiciness of
it's got
it.
that
like
staying power.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Good, because I still got 7 more.
All right. For titles, I have... Oh, yay. The Back Punch. Eating a Floor Turkey. Spoiler alert, it's cats. Dug Too Deep and Too Greedily. All Hail Ball Mode.
All Hail Ball Mode.
And the Iron Wagon.
All right, Moon, what do you have?
Nostalgia factor. I am the 0.01%. Believe it or not, City of Choice, Beep Boop Boop, Trio of Idiots, Skittles Space Marines, Taste the Rainbow Heretic, You Had a Problem, Smoking a Hillside, All Hell Ball Mode, Victorious in Scouts, so Victorious, World of Simulation, and Duck Duck Go It.
I have agreeing to Mr. X's deal. He's got the perfect swoop. Taste the Rainbow Heretic. That baby is gonna get you. Spoiler alert, it's cats and the Iron Wagon. We have a lot of really solid titles this week. I think Taste the Rainbow Heretic so far is standing out as a common one across us. Is there anything else that's really standing out for you guys?
I can go with that one.
I also like I am the 0.01%, but that's just me being a cocky little D-bag.
I'm okay with doing Taste the Rainbow if you guys want to do that.
Taste the Rainbow Heretic is good with me too.
Okay. I will circle it.
Okay.
All right, dig deep. You've been learning a lot. Now you can reference it.
No, I can't. I can't go down that rabbit hole.
Okay. Moon is thinking hard.
Or hardly thinking.
Hey, got him.
I hate you so much.
I don't even know enough about Warhammer.
Me neither. I know just enough to make me dangerous.
I was telling them while we were playing that the whole reason I started reading the lore was because someone was talking to me about how the orcs just imagine something to be true and it just works that way.
Right.
Yeah. Like they literally, anything the color red just goes fast.
Right.
And you could literally make a cardboard car, paint it red, and it goes fast with no motor or anything, and it perplexes scientists across the galaxy on why this works. And I was like, that's really good. That is the dumb lore that I am here for.
Yeah.
I'm almost ready. I've just got to check something.
Okay, yeah, gotta check your facts. You don't want the Warhammer fans to come after you. Well, most of them, I think, would probably try to educate you. But there's the alt-right...
There's always a few.
There's the alt-right grifters.
I'm ready.
All right.
All right.
Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 883 for September 23rd, 2024. Taste the rainbow, Heretic.
Primarch Mars Inc. says so.
I'm equipped with all 7 flavors of death.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for spending so much time with us hanging out here every Sunday. We do greatly appreciate it. And we hope we'll see you next week. Bye.